we just talk? Can we just talk? Talk about where we're going before we
Hello, welcome to another episode of Can We Just Talk? My name is Tammy, and today my two friends Ashrina and Intan joins me again for another interesting or rather fun topic. It's something that we all enjoy. We're going to talk about books, what we like to read about, and also books that, changed our lives or created an impact in our lives, right? So maybe I will start by asking all of you, both of you, I guess, what is your favorite book genre?
I think that would depend, no? At the moment, I'm trying to think about what I'm reading. Currently, anything travel related that doesn't require me to plow through the pages, endlessly because I don't have the time. But
Yeah.
if I have ample time, then I think I would probably go back to my favorite genre, which is historical fiction.
Nice. I do enjoy certain
Interesting.
historical fiction. What about you, Ash?
I like biographies. Like,
Oh,
there's something nice
Mm.
about learning about someone's life and lessons and like piecing together that story because you know the person you read about them and then actually knowing what goes behind the scenes. It's actually quite interesting. So I like, yeah.
biographies. Biographies are actually my least favorite genre.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
any reason for that?
Why?
Is that, Tammy?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't find other people's
Interesting.
life. Yeah. But the only biographies that I do enjoy, I only read Michelle Obama's, which I liked, and the owner or rather the founder of Nike.
Ah,
Yeah.
Ah.
Okay.
That one is a good book, but I do enjoy historical fiction. But my favorite would be crime thrillers. If I read those, I will not sleep. I will read like nonstop, 3 days in a row, just focused on finishing the story because it's every page is
Right.
exciting.
It's a page turner, isn't it? That you find it very hard to put down and you're like, no, I need to know the end. I mean, sort of the
Yes.
ending. But yeah.
especially if there's a good twist to
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
are
I think the last time I couldn't put down a book was probably when I think it was probably a Dan Brown book.
Oh,
Angels
the Da
and
Vinci Code?
Demons.
Yeah, that series. Yeah,
I would
think
agree.
that
The
was
Da Vinci Code was very hard to
Oh,
put
yeah.
down, right?
Very.
You
Yeah.
just wanted to like get to the end
keep
of
going. So that was the last time that happened. I think when you pick up a book, you ideally want to be able to have time to be able to sort of savor it, so to speak. Take your time, leaf through the pages without having to skip pages for some reason because you just don't have time. So
Yeah.
I think that's the issue right now. Not that I don't like reading, but yeah. So these days, books like those travel books, Lonely Planets, those tend to work with me because you don't have to you can just skip pages and pick pieces.
Why don't you share with me one book that you would recommend to listeners?
For what? For enjoyment? To be inspired?
Yeah, anything. Just one book that you feel like it's so good that you feel like everyone should read it.
Gosh, Ash, help me out on this one as I think.
As you
As I
guys think, I will start with mine then.
Okay, yeah, go
All
for it.
right, yeah.
Actually, to be honest with you, it's a really hard question because I wouldn't say it's one book, but I would say for me right now, the one book I feel everyone should read, and I talk about this book a lot, is Bear Town by
Oh, was he the guy who wrote A Man Called O?
yes, Ove.
Uh,
It's apparently called Ove.
Frederick Backman.
Yes, Frederick
Mm.
Bagman. That's his
Yes,
name.
I've got that book on my table and I think it's gathering dust because I think it was upon your recommendation that I actually got the book and I've been
Yes.
dying to look at it. So I think I probably got past the first page. I think I've had that book since God knows what, 2 months? That basically illustrates the dire situation that I'm in right now.
His books are very easy to read.
Yeah, I'm sure because I saw it from the first page. It looks very readable, but
Yeah, very.
you just want to be able to sit down for longer than like 10 minutes.
With his books, you can finish it within 3 days because it's really
Oh.
short and like
Uh-huh.
very meaningful. He is kind of like Mitch Albom in a way, but I
Uh-huh.
find him, I don't know, I like Mitch Albom too, but I just feel that it has more characters and everyone can find something to relate to. Basically, all Frederick Backman books are great, but why I recommend Bear Town is because I feel like there are just so many characters in that book that everyone can relate to. There's no one character that is bad. I mean, despite everyone's flaws in the book, you will be able to relate, and it's very touching. The book is about ice hockey. And before I picked up that book, I was hesitating because I'm not a big sports fan. But the thing is, as I read it, it's just so much more about ice hockey. Although I learned so much about ice hockey that I actually got a bit interested in it too. So that is one book I recommend because I think it touched on so many issues. There are just so many themes in that book: family, friendship, rape, problems that people deal with in life, in school, but also working life. So many issues discussed. And the thing is, he did it in like one or two books. I just find it so amazing. And that's why if there's one book I always recommend people to read, I would say Bear Town. And now it's a HBO series in Sweden. In fact, A Man Called Ove is a
Ove,
movie.
is it?
Yeah,
Right.
I thought Ove too, but apparently in their language it's Ove. I only know because of the movie. I only watched 5 minutes because 5 minutes in I already started getting really emotional because everything came back to me.
Now that you've mentioned it, I can just about recall the last book I actually picked up and was not able to put down. And it got me pretty scared actually because I was not doing my work. And I found it now. It's on my table. It's a New York Times bestseller. The book is called Juliet and by a lady named Anne Fortier. And it's such a great book. It's basically like a modern day thrilling treasure hunt through present day Italy. And it sort of relives the classic tragedy of Romeo and Juliet, but brings it to the modern time. And it's like literally like the Da Vinci Code. It just keeps you chasing and chasing right to the last page. And I remember thinking this book was just stunning. The storytelling, the plot. It's so and writing so elegant and very witty. And it's fantastic. So it reads like a Da Vinci Code for the smart modern woman, I'd say. So if you enjoy Da Vinci Code, then let me lend you this book because I bet you won't be able to put it down either.
Is it what genre is it? Like mystery, thriller?
Well, it's I would say it's a romantic thriller.
Okay.
But the fact that it's actually based on Romeo and Juliet, so it sort of goes back and forth between history and history and modern day. So if you're familiar with the Romeo and Juliet story, you will see stories that you remember from maybe your study of it or your reading of it. This one's amazing. You know why? Simply because I feel like of course you study history and all that, and then you remember how the story ran, and then the fact that this author is able to weave it so what's the word, you just feel it's so real, and then eventually you don't even know whether you're in the past anymore, you're in the present. Everything sort of weaves so seamlessly. So I think that's the power of the book, and especially if you like Romeo and Juliet, I think you'll probably find a lot of joy in this book.
All right, I will check it out. What about you, Ash?
If there is a book that really had like a big impact, it would be The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. So basically, he was a lecturer at Carnegie Mellon, and he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And he wrote this book as a sort of, because he had three kids that were like under the age of 5 or 6. And he basically wrote this book as a guide for them since he's not going to be around. It's like so it's a bit of a
so sad.
I mean, I want to cry already.
Honestly, I was just having this conversation with a friend, and she said she always cry reading a book. I don't really cry, maybe because I read biographies and stuff like that, so there's not really, there's emotions, but it's different. But this one, yes, I was like, honestly, just like really like bawling, I was like, oh, what is going on? Because it's just so sad, but there's so much lessons and life lessons to take away from it. And you realize, it's so simple. It makes a lot of sense when you read it. You're like, why don't I think about this? Why nobody thinks about this? It's just about basically living your life exactly how you want it. So if you just say you wanted to do something, just go do it and be happy, So he wanted to do, he wanted to be a Disney Imagineer. So what he did was he wrote to Disney, and then somehow or other he got in and he got into NASA, like they did projects. Maybe it isn't the exact achievement of doing, but you reach that goal in a different way. And I think that was kind of nice. And the biggest lesson in that book was towards the end, he basically said, you go through your life, do you want to be an Eeyore or a Tigger?
I want to be Eeyore.
I want to be Eeyore too.
I'm a Tigger.
But actually, I don't get it. Like, what's the
Oh, I think,
personality of
like,
Eeyore and Tigger? I don't
I
watch
think
Winnie the Pooh.
no,
But
it's
Eeyore
not.
is adorable.
Yeah, he is. Tigger's all the whole jump in, get this, whatever, haha, kind of,
Oh, okay.
complete excitement, jump head in first. But Eeyore's, a little bit more, I don't know.
Careful.
Slow and ploddy.
Slow, yeah, and
Shucks.
thinks about it, and like,
I think
Isn't
I'm
Eeyore a donkey?
yes.
yeah, I think he is.
But if you want to talk about this, I'm a Baloo. My personality is
Oh,
Baloo.
okay.
As in
Yeah.
the Jungle Book?
Yeah, I'm a Baloo. Like the
Oh.
song Bare Necessities is
Oh.
like just my motto. But I'm not sure about Tigger and Eeyore. I just want to be Eeyore because I thought Eeyore is cute.
No, but if you ask me now, I'm everything. I'm a bit of Pooh. I'm a bit of Piglet. I'm scared of things. You get what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I'm no longer the fearless figure that I wanted to be. Now I have a lot of fear.
I think we
It's-
all have a bit of everything in
Yes,
in us,
exactly.
right? Hey, how about books that actually growing up that made an impact on you, in whatever way? So books that sort of you fell in love with when you were growing up, and if you were to pick one, what would it be?
Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, Red
Yes.
Riding Hood.
I love it.
Why? Any reason?
I don't know. I love it.
Did you want to be Red Riding Hood?
Yes, and yeah. So at one point I got a red hoodie as well. Just to.
Uh-huh.
But I really liked that story a lot. Like I used to read it all the time.
Were you a
I-
voracious reader when you were growing up? Was your
yes.
house filled with books?
No,
Shelves of
but
books?
we used to go to the library every Friday. We spent about, say, an hour, and my dad would make us read either one or two books, and then we'd
Right.
take home 3 books to finish within the week, and the next
Yeah.
week it's
all my books last time were sponsored by my cousin, so I have a lot of books.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my dad also brought us, like Ashrina, he brought us to the library. So
Yeah.
I think the library was the highlight of the weekend. I think
Oh,
my dad
yes.
my dad used to take us on a Saturday, and I remember the library. I think the library was like a haven, and
Yes.
me and my brother were just so happy to be there. The library was the place to go, back in those days.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then we'd be so excited, borrowing 4 to 6 books.
Yeah.
And that was like, whoa.
I don't know what happened now. Like people just don't go to libraries anymore.
I
Last
think 'cause
time,
there's so many other distractions, right? Because
True.
I think back in those days, gosh, I feel so old. But back in those days, I think that was the highlight of the week. No, I don't recall
would
going to
agree.
the cinema or anything.
my
yeah,
highlight
so
was
the-
McDonald's, but library is okay. Also.
A very close second.
yeah.
I'd agree.
And we used to
library-
be able to borrow tapes, cassettes.
Oh.
Did you? Yeah,
No,
because
we don't
okay, this
have.
is the libraries in England. All right.
Oh.
So you could borrow. I think you could borrow about 4 books, and you could borrow a cassette.
Nice.
So those were the days, the cassette. Now
Actually,
again, I feel so old.
I love an audio book. Like I mean I
Was
have
there
not
audiobooks
got.
back in those days?
I guess
I
it's
guess the cassettes are audiobooks.
audiobooks, right?
right?
Oh,
Because
It's
yeah,
a form
that's
of
right.
audio.
Yeah. It
It's-
was a
it's-
reading.
Yeah.
someone's narrating the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
story
yeah,
to
correct,
you, right?
correct.
I think, I mean, if you ask me, I've always read a physical book.
Uh-huh.
So I think my
Same.
this one is I want to try like an audio book, just put it on and just listen and be like, someone, especially if it's by the author itself, and
Especially by
if it's by,
the author,
yeah.
right? If the
Because
author
you want
actually
that
read it.
same voice.
Yeah.
not-
But what about when you were a bit, I mean, in your teens, for example, what books
Oh.
filled up your shelves? Can you remember?
For me,
Yeah.
Nancy Drew and the
Ah,
Sweet
okay.
Valley Twins.
Oh, Sweet
my
Valley High.
God,
Yeah.
no.
Well,
My
as opposed to
goodness.
Mills and Boons, right? Sweet Valley High was a lot safer than Mills and Boons.
I don't know the other one, but
I
I
never
know
read both. Like,
No, I think
did
there was,
not.
what was the other one? I think it was called Sweet Romance
oh my
or something along
God.
those lines. Yeah. Because I remember there was 2. You were either a fan of one or the other. So it was either Mills and Boons was just too adult, and you couldn't really you couldn't really tote it around, in case your parents saw it. But
Okay.
I think it was Sweet Dreams or something like that. So that was the big thing.
Okay.
And then what you mentioned, Tammy. So I remember those. Oh my God.
Man, brings
my
back so
God.
many
I
memories.
know,
But I
right?
never read those titles. Like
I
if it
really
was
like
saying-
Nancy Drew, and to be
Oh,
very frank,
Yeah, Nancy Drew.
yeah,
Who was the
seriously.
author of Nancy Drew?
Oh my
forgot.
God, no idea.
Oh my days.
but
Okay.
it's
'Cause
just so good.
yeah, she was the other alternative too. I remember Enid Blyton. I used to
Mm.
love Famous Five,
Yes.
Secret
yes.
Seven,
Mm.
right? And Mallory Towers and St. Clair's.
Yeah.
Oh my
Enid
God, those
Blyton.
boarding schools. Yeah, Enid Blyton.
My
That's right.
dad's favorite author was Enid Blyton. That's how we got to know.
Seriously, your
Yeah.
dad's favorite author.
So
That's
he read,
interesting.
he read to us all the famous five.
Yeah.
Not so much the
Ah,
Secret Seven, but the famous five
Uh-huh.
books we grew up with.
Right.
And then Nancy Drew was because my cousin has like, seriously, I think I have hundreds of them last time. My cousin
Oh.
passed it down to me. So I read a lot of Nancy Drew and the Sweet
Uh-huh.
Valley Twins.
Sweet Valley High.
Yeah,
Sweet
Sweet
Valley
Valley
High,
High.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever want to emulate what the famous fives did? You know, had to live in a
An
caravan and to build bonfires and
Yes.
Yeah.
Was
Solve
was
the
it
case with a bunch
yeah,
of
solve a
friends.
case.
Then
yeah.
everyone has their personalities and
Yeah,
everyone.
that's right.
I have a question. Was it the Secret Seven or the Famous Five? Someone had a
I
dog.
always get that mixed up.
Someone had a dog, right? I wanted a dog.
Yes, Georgina.
I
yeah,
wanted
I
a
only
dog.
remember-
I was like,
Oh
I
my
wish I had a dog.
Georgina
I only
had
remember
a dog.
Georgina.
She was the tomboy, right?
Yeah, I only remember Georgina. Who else?
Famous Five. She was in the
Don't
famous
She's the
five.
famous five.
remember. I do
Hmm.
But I
not
don't remember the rest.
Peter? Was there a Peter?
I'm sure there's a Peter.
Yes, there's a
I'm
Peter. It's
very
Are you
sure
sure?
there's a Peter.
It's very English. There must have been a Peter.
Guys,
Thomas
you are
Famous Five
wrong.
and
There is
Secret
no
Seven.
Peter.
Are you
You
kidding
Google
me?
it.
Oh no! So who was in
Yeah,
charge? then?
I would have.
There is
I was completely convinced there was.
I know.
Like, I was like, yeah,
it's so
definitely.
English.
Georgina,
Oh.
Julian, Dick, and
Julian, that's it. Julian.
yeah,
He was the eldest, right?
it's so
I just wanted to grow up and become an investigator just
Oh,
because
yeah,
the famous
yeah.
five. I think I wanted to
Actually-
solve mysteries.
The mysteries were really good.
Oh, they
Yeah.
were good.
Even,
they were
even
good.
at that point, right? It's not like, an adult kind of book, right?
Yeah.
But at that point, you like, oh wow, like you're completely transfixed, and you're like, I want to know what happens.
Yeah. Okay. So we've gone past Enid Blyton. We've got the famous five and Secret Sevens, and then
Yeah.
we've got the Red Riding Hood,
Mhm.
and then we've moved on to Sweet Valley High as far as romance is concerned, and Mills and Boons, which none of us would admit to.
Asterisk, not we. I didn't.
Asterisk,
I didn't too.
Sorry, did you get to Tintin as well while you were at Asterix?
I remember Tintin.
Do you remember
cartoon.
Tintin?
Cartoon.
Ah,
But
Yeah,
I didn't
cartoon.
read it though.
I remember back in those days, are you a Tintin fan or are you an Asterix? So you read one or the other. So I remember I was a Tintin and my brother was Asterix.
I like Calvin and Hobbes. If we're on the comics part, I was gonna say that.
I think the only comics I read was what, Beano and Dandy? Does that like take me very far?
Archie's.
Archie, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
I'm an
American,
Archie
very
fan.
American though. Which
I
one
like
did you like,
Betty.
Veronica or Betty?
Oh, Betty.
Betty?
Betty.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I liked Veronica for some
Why?
Wow.
reason. I have no idea. Is that a reflection of our respective characters then? Or maybe I just like the dark hair.
Yeah, maybe.
No, if you ask me, yeah, of course, her dark hair. But I don't know. Betty seems so wholesome. It's
And nice.
That's the
right.
problem.
Yeah.
She was just too wholesome.
I really don't like Archie.
yeah.
Because he
that's
always
it, that's
like,
it.
I feel like Betty, did Archie end up with Betty or Veronica?
Oh,
He was
there
always
an
between two
ending, wasn't
girls,
it?
no?
Yeah, this is the
He was
problem
always
why
between two girls.
that's why I
No,
don't
no.
like him.
If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, wasn't it there was like a special edition where there was like who he ends up with?
Oh,
Or am I
really?
wrong?
I just got fed up and tired of him because he just couldn't make up his mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
why
You
I
know?
hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
what's with it? No.
I want to
yeah.
curse, but I cannot.
We
But-
understand. We understand. We feel you, Tammy. Veronica or Betty. I just thought the two girls just, buggered off and left him really because such
Yeah.
a good girl.
Actually,
That would
they
be
should have-
the
They should have
best.
just gone with Reggie and Jughead.
I
and
would do
done with
that.
it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
What's
just
so
go with
special
Reggie.
about Archie anyway?
I don't know.
That's
Actually, that's a
right.
very good question.
So moving along from Archie, what
Mhm.
about the teenage years or maybe late teenage years? So which book
Oh,
made an
classics.
impact or
Did
classics? Yeah,
Classics,
Did you-
like for example.
Oh, Jane Austen.
Ah, those
Yeah.
classics.
Yeah, those classics.
Right.
But it took me a while though. Like I think I wanted to read it like when I was 13 or 14. I
Uh-huh.
couldn't finish it.
Right.
I guess I don't know if like the mind is not ready.
It's the
yet.
language, no? I think
Yes,
at
so-
13 the language would have been a bit difficult.
When you read it, you're like, you try to get into it. After
Yeah,
like a
you
few
can't
pages,
brain
you're
it.
like, I can't do it. So I think
Yeah.
I revisited 15, 16, and then finished it.
So you
Yeah.
understood. What's The Great Expectations? That one left an
Oh.
indelible mark. Was that
With
who
you?
was the author there? Was that
Oh,
Charles
wow.
Dickens? Charles Dickens?
I think so.
You all read such
Yes,
deep books when you are
correcto.
a
Actually, when we were
teenager.
younger, yeah, because like for
Yeah.
me, because I was in England, so the
Mm.
classics was very much something that we studied even, as part of
Right.
our English literature
Right.
class. So was it Charles Dickens then? Great
Yes, it was.
Expectations?
Yeah, it was.
Bingo! I got that right.
Ding ding ding.
Yes.
My
My memory
teenage
has
years,
failed me.
I was
Uh-huh.
really into Harry Potter.
Okay.
That was
Oh,
probably the
right.
only book I read during my teenage years. I don't read a lot when I was a teenager.
Ah.
Really? Did anybody sneak in a Jackie Collins under the covers?
No.
What's a Jackie Collins?
Jackie, Ash, you want to do me the favor of explaining what's a
Wait,
Jackie Collins?
Sorry if I look
wait, was
dumb.
Jackie Collins in like Dallas or something?
No, Jackie, Joan Collins, her sister.
Oh
was in
my
Dallas.
god. Okay, there
Jackie
you go.
Collins
Sorry.
was the author sister.
That's
So
so
she
bad.
she
Get it
she
wrong.
wrote really well. If you're a teen and you're reading Jackie Collins,
Right.
that's pretty lurid. And you wouldn't want to be showing your parents either that you're reading a Jackie Collins
Is
because
it kind of like a 50 shade? 50 shades.
Wow.
along
Kind of, I
those
guess.
lines along
Yeah.
those lines
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So we grew up really fast. We were reading like funky books.
Wow.
Really funky books in that.
Really.
I did read Christopher Pike.
Mine's are
Okay.
fine. Romance to me kind of boring.
Stephen
Like-
King.
Oh,
Stephen
Stephen King is actually I'm not super
I'm- I-
impressed.
Really?
No, I'm not into
No.
the horror genre.
I
Yeah.
don't- Okay.
The thing with Stephen King is it's scary, but then why would you read something scary? Because the impact of a horror story, I think, is visual.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
his
that's
stories
true.
are very plain in that there's nothing much. It's
Oh.
just horror. There's no twist, no creativity. Just my opinion.
What I did was watch Misery, the movie, and then it freaked me out so much. Then I wanted like, okay, I'm going to read the book.
That's
Mm.
an interesting point. How
Yeah.
many of you guys actually seek out a book after having seen a movie of it?
That
Or do
one.
you guys tend to do the other way? So you read a book and then you want to seek out the movie, or you see the movie and then seek out the book?
I think
What-
with the
what tends to
Notebook, I
happen?
read the Notebook first. and then
The
movie came out.
Notebook. That's super sad.
Oh yeah. It was, but the book was really good.
Yeah. So which
So
one
when the
was
movie
better?
came out, I was like, okay. I mean, yeah, there was some difference and all that, but yeah, it was to me, I thought pretty decent attempt at.
I thought the
unfolding
Notebook
story.
sucked. I didn't even bother to reading the book. I didn't know about the book.
Did
I
you like the
watched
movie though?
first. No, it was so
why?
bad. That's why I don't even watch the movie. I don't
What do you
even read the
mean?
book.
What do you
Do you
mean?
maybe you need to have a big dose of romantic bone in your body to actually appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yes.
Right.
I don't find okay. That's the thing. Like to your question, in that I always try to read the book first because otherwise the when you watch the movie you'll be very disappointed. Then you kind of like don't want to read the book. Like what
That's
happened?
interesting. That's interesting because I one of my most favorite books,
Mhm.
which is Other Berlin Girl by Philippa Gregory.
Oh,
I
Right,
remember
yes.
was actually triggered by me having watched the movie
movie.
first.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that led me to actually wanting to seek out the book because I wanted, because I love the movie so much. And that's when I actually started getting into Philippa Gregory and also the Tudor period. Henry VIII and Anne
right.
Boleyn, and then it spawned a fascination for Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn in particular. And if you notice from my bookshelf, there are many books which are some yet to be opened, which are all about the Tudor period. And
Right.
actually, I would credit that movie, The Berlin Girl, as the one that spawned this absolute manic passion for Tudor history, to be honest with you. Because I remember another book that left such an indelible mark was, and I started off actually watching the TV series of it, which was The Thorn Bird.
Oh,
It's
yes.
actually, it's a book by Colin McCulloch written in the late 70s. And it was made into a TV series by, I think, Australian American production company. And I was so hooked on the TV series that I literally had to go and find the book. And I tell you, I probably have about 3 or 4 copies of the book on my shelf. That one's a manic fascination because I even did it as my A-level dissertation.
Oh wow.
Yeah, if you are into sweeping sagas and you have the patience for a storyline that spans, years and years and years, and you happen to have a fascination for, Catholic priests and a young girl, then you might actually, want to give the book a try. But actually, it's beautiful writing, to be honest with you, and it's a very interesting storyline. It's a forbidden love story, but it's written so well, and because it spans those period, you feel like, once you go through the book and you finish it, you feel like you've been on an incredible ride through the years, and it's almost cathartic. So that's my hurrah for Colleen McCulloch's Thornbirds, guys. Go check.
Intan has been on about this Thunderbirds, Thornbirds. This Thornbirds for like the longest time. So tell us, how has it impacted your life? This Catholic priest and this young girl.
Apart from having a thing for men with collars, let me think. I probably like it because it's pretty much what my character's like. I'm actually a romantic at heart, so yeah. And forbidden love and all that. It's all very interesting, no?
Yeah, it's always very how to say it? Spicy.
Spicy, yes.
Sad.
I mean, not in a bad way. It's
not a bad way.
It's sad. It's sad, right? But at the same time, I think it's also because the book is set in Australia, which happened to be my favorite country when I was growing up. For some reason, I've always wanted to go to Australia. If you ask me what's my favorite book, all-time book, I would have to say it's that, Colleen McCulloch's The Thornbirds.
Oh, wow.
Which, I mean, it's no literary work of art or Pulitzer-winning, piece, but it resonates so much. And to this day, even though I'm so old now, I can tell you the thrill of reading it remains the same.
I don't like romance, especially when it's sad, because like I feel like life.
But it's not romance.
Yeah.
It's not romance. You see, what the beauty of it's because it spans over half a century, actually. So you actually see the changing landscape of the world that we live in. And then at the same time, it's it's a romance, but it's not like 100% romance. It's also about family. It's about relationships between family members, and it's actually quite tragic. Yeah, so I think that's what makes it such a 360 kind of book, where it captures everything.
Nowadays, I cry more easy because now every single book I read, I can shed tears. I have no idea why. It's like,
Really?
yeah, it's so ridiculous. I think it's the hormones. I don't think last time I don't cry about anything. I don't cry about anything at all. Now it's like every little thing, even like the stupidest movie, I can cry.
I don't cry from reading books though, because for some reason I need to be able to see the visual.
Yeah.
For some reason.
It's in my mind. I cried reading Bear Town for sure. A Man Called Ove. Okay, every single Frederick Backman book. When Professor Dumbledore died, I cried.
Okay, in the movie, yes. Like you
No,
really sad.
the book, I remember I was in college when I finished and he died. I was up on my bed and then I just cried like I lost my grandfather.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was like, oh my God.
I don't know about crying from reading a book, but I would say that you feel something, but I don't sort of cry. I can cry when I see the visuals, right? But after reading a book, it could be quite a cathartic experience. So you feel terribly moved, or it remains in your mind for a long time. But to actually physically cry, I don't think I've ever done that. Not even with the Thornbird. Sorry, I'm bringing this up again.
Really?
Even though
How
I cried buckets when I watched the Thornbirds 5 times, every single time.
Maybe we can end this episode with one book you plan to read this year.
The one book I'm planning to read this year, I'm going to revisit Colleen McCulloch's The Thornbirds, because I've just pulled it out of my shelf and I'm so delighted to see it. It's like this little jig inside of me when I see it, and I'm thinking, damn it, I'm gonna read this again. So I've lost count how many times I've read it, but this is the book that I'm gonna go and revisit, simply because every single time I read it or reread it, it takes me on a different kind of ride in terms of emotions and feelings.
I tell you what, because Intan said that, I'll make that book one of the books that I gonna read this year.
No way.
In fact, at first I wanted to say Barack Obama's autobiography.
Oh, okay.
The new one. I heard great things about it.
Yeah.
So I plan to read that one, but because Intan hard sold it so much.
Oh my God.
And also
Please
Juliet.
don't.
Yeah, actually, Juliet sounds really good.
Really, if you enjoyed Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code, you will so love Juliet.
What's the one
just
book
click.
you want to read, Ashrina?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. I agree with Tammy on the Barack Obama book. I want to read that, but I want to find Michael Bisping's book.
Oh, MMA
Michael who?
fighter. Michael Bisping. He's
Yes.
an MMA
So
fighter.
I think I like his podcast and stuff like that. So I'm like, ha, that's my next. It's probably, I mean, it's a biography, so I don't know. It might be interesting to find out why, how they
Yeah,
his whole
I forgot
journey and
another
everything.
autobiography I read is Conor McGregor's coach biography. That one was good too.
Did you like it?
I did. It is. I think it also
Mhm.
helps my job in that sense. That's why. So I only read
You got some
three.
insights then.
Yeah, I got some insights for sure.
Intan, have you ever read like any, footballers like biographies or anything like that?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Steve Perriman, David Beckham. Yes,
Oh,
indeed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
okay.
So sports biographies are quite inspiring. But
Oh.
lately, no, I haven't picked up autobiographies for some reason. I don't know. I maybe like Tammy. I'm not inspired by that. I pick up a lot of travel books. I find. Yeah, a lot of travel books. Yeah, like Lonely Planet kind of books.
Right.
Because I like to look at pictures, and of course, when you just want to transport yourself to those
Yeah,
places.
yeah.
You don't even have to read so much.
Yeah.
You just look at pictures and lose yourself in the book. So that's probably my shallowness coming through there.
But I
I
don't
think-
like those because why? It just makes me so angry.
Depressed?
Yeah, because I can't
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
I get,
man.
yeah. I actually, I don't get depressed. I actually get inspired to start. I plan, and then it's always something to look forward to.
Yeah.
That's true.
But anyways, people.
Anyways, we've come to the end of the show. We talk about books, and then we talk a bit about movies, and then everything else. But we did have a very great discussion. Until the next time, have a good night, everyone.